What I'm doing right now is just covering over my my natural eyebrow so that once all the white face is on, I can draw on my face however I want it. So the Sisters started in San Francisco in 1979, and originally it was 4 friends who all put on habits that one of them had got from a Sound of Music production, or for a Sound of Music production. And they did it on Easter weekend of 1979, and went out into the Castro just to see what would happen. And originally for sort of performance art kind of purposes. And what they found was that people reacted amazingly well to the Sisters, or to their sisters. And from there, they started doing it regularly. And other people wanted to join them. So the interesting thing for me is they never set out to found anything or start anything. They set out to do some performance art, and for the first few years, that's mostly what the Sisters did, was performance art and protest and that kind of stuff. And then as the AIDS crisis hit, they realized they had a role to play where they could serve the community. And so they started doing fundraisers for quality of life programs for people with HIV and AIDS, which of course at the time was not even called AIDS, right? When they started, people weren't really even sure what it was. And they wrote, the Sisters in San Francisco wrote the first safer sex pamphlet in the United States, and did a ton of work in advocacy to get treatments and get care for people, like hospice care for people. And they were some of the first that would go in and actually do hospice care with people with HIV and AIDS and full-blown AIDS, even before, the medical profession knew what was causing it. And so a lot of people were really afraid and staying away from people with HIV and AIDS, and the Sisters would just go in and love them.
It was great. I called up my mom. I'm like, Mom, I cannot get the eyeliner and the sparkles, that glitter on my eyes. She's like, oh, honey. She's like, it's all about the little Almay eye makeup wipes. And they're these tiny little, like, circular wipes.
Now, it's, so 30 years later, there are about, I think it's 60 houses 60 houses basically around the world. And there's over 600 nuns that are part of the Sisters, which also includes the guards. So when the guards are our male persona, one of our guards describes it as the Sisters serve the community and the paladins serve the Sisters. So the universal vows for the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence are to expiate stigmatic guilt, promulgate universal joy, and to be of service to our communities. And that's the universal vow, that every house or every mission then can expand on it, but that's the one thing we keep in common, and that ties us all together as Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. In Vancouver, we've chosen to focus on 2 main issues. The first one being HIV and AIDS, and that's to very squarely tie us to the history of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. So we will raise money for other HIV and AIDS service organizations and or projects. And we also do what we call bar ministry, which is reaching out mostly to the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and trans communities to talk about whatever they want to talk about, but often part of what we talk about is safer sex and what that means to them. And the other issue that we're working on here in Vancouver, because we also wanted to make sure that we were really relevant to the Vancouver context, is homelessness. We will give grants to other organizations for small projects that probably wouldn't otherwise get funded. So what we'll probably be looking for are, startup organizations or startup projects that, a little bit of money can go a long way to get them going, and hopefully then they can leverage that for other funds.
So he would just talk, and it was just like velvet. Just be so, yeah, we're with you. Oh, yeah. It's like cocoa with marshmallows.
There's 3 sisters and 1 paladin or guard. And then we've got a whole bunch of, well, not a whole bunch, we have 7 new members that have people that have expressed an interest in going through our membership process and joining us. But our membership process is a year-long process because we want to make sure that the people that come in are called to be a sister, and we want them to make sure of that. And so it's not, so we make sure that we take a full year with them and they take a full year with us to test their calling and to make sure that they're also prepared to do the amount of work that it takes to be a sister, because it is a lot of work. I mean, about 2 hours to put on our face, and then we need to go out and reach out to the community, and we're raising money and raising funds and raising awareness, and so that's fair amount of work that some other groups wouldn't have.
I'm dreaming of a pearl necklace with every Craigslist ad I run.
In the early days, a lot of people thought the sisters were making fun of nuns, and in my view, that's the furthest thing from the truth. Most of us that I know highly respect Catholic nuns. In my view of church history, the nuns have often been the ones who push for social justice and who care for people who others won't care for. And so my view of what we're doing is honoring that tradition and bringing it to the queer community. Do we have fun while we do it? Do we, be silly while we do it? Absolutely. But for me, that's part of spreading joy. And so a dear friend of mine talks about getting rid of the guilt and the shame that comes with some organized religion, and instead replacing it with joy and love. And so that's what the sisters try and do. So our hope is that now that once we get established and get going, hopefully it'll spread across the country, and because there'll be a presence, and there'll have been someone who's done it in Canada. As it is, we have to make up a lot to fit into the Canadian laws, because most of our examples are from the States. So my hope is once we've done all that hard work, that others will be more inspired to do it, because there'll be less from the start. We're doing, I look at it as doing probably three things tonight. The first one is that we are trying to spread awareness of the gala that's happening on Tuesday. We're also trying to spread some safer sex awareness. And then we're also reaching out to our community, because we are a new group. We're still getting to know the community and them to get to know us. And so every time we go out, part of it is just getting to know everyone.
Mary, Mary, till you will be swinging on the Christmas sling. Yeah.
The lyrics have a sister flair to them. So some of them have safer sex references to them. All of them have been reworked. And the ones that don't have safer sex have been queered up to be fun and light, and to spread joy, as we like to do.
We're spreading love and joy tonight, dolls. You do not know how much joy you spread.
The sparkly lips are great.
Beautiful you are.
You are beautiful.
You are.
No, you.
You say that to everyone on the street. Hi, darling. Happy holidays. We're out spreading some love and joy to everyone. Hide and seek, sister, hide and seek.
You guys are fun. Where did you come from?
And we should bring them out more often. They're great. Fantastic. The twins. We love the twins.
Hello, Vancouver. Spread the love.
Ethica, we're moving.
Large condoms we bring for you and your friends. Large condoms for Christmas and a year of great sex.
Yay, that was fun.
Okay.
It's so good to see you.
Oh,
you.